Hello, everybody. Hi. Ashley is on vacation, so I will be leading the call today. So as we let everybody come in through the door, we still are doing our brain teasers. So write in the chat what your answers. So the first one is Sam is from the Bahamas, Jean is from Senegal, and Ira is from Bulgaria. What country is Liza from? And then the second one is in Back to the Future, what speed does the DeLorean have to reach to time travel? So write your answers in the chat, what you think, while we let everybody trickle in. Hopefully everyone's staying cool. It's still 90 degrees here. I'm right outside of Philadelphia. We have some answers coming through. Anyone want to take a stab on the second one? Okay, well, for the first one, that is right. It is Brazil. So each of the names is in the location just backwards. So Sam is in Bahamas, but backwards. So Liza is in Brazil, but spelled backwards. And nice, Andrew came in with 88 miles per hour. That's right on the second one. Good job. Okay, all right, great. I think we can get going here. So here's our agenda for this meeting. We have Andrew on the call. He's going to speak on the West Ed Impact Study update. We'll have a registration update. I will, of course, talk about Future City High School. We'll go through the Refer a Colleague campaign winner, the certificate of insurance, some upcoming educator calls. We'll talk about the handbook. We have Teresa Wolf on the call who will talk about a survey. And then we have a new region update and then our upcoming regional coordinator calls. So, and I do have, just so everyone knows, I have notes over here that I'll be looking at back and forth, just so you know that. But Andrew Grillo Hill is here as part of West Ed. He's going to give a quick update on the West Ed Future City study. And if anyone has any questions for him. And then I just put in the slides that we had from the last call with David, just as a reference for everybody to look back on. And if you would like to watch that recording again, so you can get the full spiel from David as well. And I also just have a heads up to everybody that educators may have received an email from futurecity@discovery.org email address with information on the study if they were interested in learning more upon registration. It is not a phishing email, it's from Ashley, and then West Ed sends a follow-up email after that with their information. So Andrew, go ahead and just let me know when to move slides.
Sure. Thanks, Maddie, and it's great to see everyone today. So yes, my colleague David McKinney was on the call a month ago. I'm here, similar purpose. I guess first question, who was not on last month's call? If you could put that in the chat or I don't know, raise your hand in the meeting or give me a thumbs up. If you were not here, because I'll know sort of what level of detail maybe to go into. Okay, I've got Ken and Brenda. Anyone else? Okay, so we'll still do the overview, not in excruciating detail, but hopefully enough so that Ken and Brenda can know where we're at. And then if anyone has questions while we're talking, please put them in the chat or raise your hand. If you're confused, I would rather be interrupted and answer your question right away instead of you sitting there and being confused. So let's go on to the next slide. So just as a quick overview, West Ed, who I work for, we're a nonpartisan research development and service agency. And basically, we focus on education from cradle to grave, right? And doing service and research, professional development. Our headquarters are in San Francisco, California. I live on the West Coast, but we have staff all across the country. and have a little over 1,000 staff members. So we're here as an independent third party to conduct a research study on Future City to look at what the impact is. So the impact study is taking place next year. We're looking for educators to participate with their students. I'll explain more about the details of the study in a little bit, but why this is important is we hear a lot of great information about educators loving the program and seeing the change and difference that students have. But beyond sort of those anecdotal reports, it's hard to say like, oh yes, this definitively has an impact on students' engineering and design thinking or aspects in their science classroom. So the impact study is really trying to look at in 1 year, one school year, what is that impact that happens for students about their motivation and interest in science and engineering, and does it have an impact on their engineering design skills? Okay. So how this can be, sorry, go back real quick, Maddie, if it's okay. So we're going to hopefully talk about how this impact study can be successful, and then answer any questions you have. All right, now we'll go to the next one. Thank you. The Overdeck Family Foundation has funded this work for WestEd to design the study and work with Discovery on building up this study. We started a little over a year ago on developing what the study would be, and then we did a pilot study this last year, talked with a lot of educators about how they use Future City, and we will have reports later this summer coming out. But a lot of our work focused on what is feasible for a project like Future Cities, where it can be implemented in a lot of different models, be it after school clubs or in classrooms. So, all right, now let's go on to the next one. Okay, so there are two main things we're looking at for understanding the impact of Future City on students. One, their engineering design skills, and two, their motivation for engineering and project management. So we have subscales or questions related to belonging, self-efficacy, the value, and their STEM identity. And then some additional secondary things we want to look at through our work is how that impact varies by how teachers implement Future Cities and characteristics of the students who participate. So, thanks. Let's go to the next one. All right. Okay, so how we're going to understand this impact is we're going to ask teachers and students who are part of Future City what the impact is. We're going to compare students next year who are in Future City to students who are not in Future City. And then compare students in Future City to similar students who are not in Future City. And then we're looking at students in classrooms of two groups of teachers. So we'll say group one are teachers who are using Future City as usual, and they attend the competition. Group two would be teachers who use Future Cities normally, but agree to skip that for 1 year. And we've made some updates to that second group right now. Initially, we were only going to recruit teachers who were experienced. We've opened that up to include new teachers in our randomization, and we will even them out between the two groups who are new and returning teachers. The other thing that we've heard is there's a lot of teachers who are interested in participating, but would not be willing to forego the competition for some of their students. Most common, that's teachers who say like, I really want my 8th grade students to have the competition experience. So in those cases, if a teacher teaches more than one section, like say they teach 6th and 7th graders, and are willing to have those 6th and 7th graders participate in the study, then we could have those teachers also participate. We would just decide to randomize those 6th or 7th grade classrooms and not the 8th grade classrooms. Any questions on kind of the groupings Yeah, well, we'll be looking at teachers to do an alternative STEM activity. It's not required, but we need teachers who are in a place where they can say like, yes, were it not for the study, these are the students who would be in a class taking Future City. So where it becomes challenging for us is if it's an after-school program, because sorry, let me step back. We need the control students and the comparison group to take the assessments that we have. Sometimes there's studies where we're looking at like a state test that all students take. And this is not the case. With the engineering assessment we're doing and the motivation questions we have, those are unique to this study. And so we need both groups, let's say the treatment and the control group of students, to take those assessments. So we need that control group to be identifiable. So if they were in an after-school club, that we just say, oh, the after-school club isn't going to happen in this fall, it gets difficult to say like, yes, we can identify who those students are that would have been in this after-school club if it was in the fall. If it's a class or an elective and something else can be done with those students, that's fine. If it was FIRST Robotics, that's fine. We're not directly trying to compare Future City with another STEM activity like FIRST Robotics, but we understand teachers will need to fill in something to do with those control classes or groups of students that are in the control group. So does that help answer the question, Ken? No. Okay. Do you want to ask more?
If it's easier, Ken, you can come off mute and just talk it through.
Okay, I think I'm off mute. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so the question is, if they're in the control group, will you be tracking whether they're doing some alternative STEM activity, and if so, what it is? Because
Yes. We do have logs that will have teachers in both groups complete about what they're doing.
okay, so you'll
Yes.
be able to know. It might not be the purpose of it, but
Yes.
that they're doing
we-
some
we-
kind of STEM activity is my guess.
Yeah.
Is that will have some effect also on the factors that you're trying to measure.
Yeah, that's a possibility. So, all right. Does that answer the question, Ken?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, Maddie, we can go on to the next slide. Okay, so this is just a high-level overview of what a randomized control trial is. In educational research, it's considered the gold standard. Part of that is because in theory, your two groups in the treatment and control group should be equivalent when you start the study. And we do some things with pre-assessments to check that if there are differences or not. But it also provides really unbiased evidence that whether the program is working or not, right? Educational leaders, especially funders, which is an important factor right now, look for that type of evidence when either adopting something or approving it or adding additional funds. So our hope is that the results from this will provide evidence to Discovery for improving the program and being able to broaden the reach of that. So instead of just having teachers who come in and say, oh, I've heard this Future City thing is great from a colleague, that there would be some evidence from our study that could back that up and help convince the educator, the principals, the district administrators that yes, this is a worthwhile thing for teachers and students to participate in. So, all right, next slide. Thanks. So what this looks like is right now we are trying to recruit from teachers who are signing up for Future City. So as teachers sign up, one, if they're a returning teacher, they're asked if they'd be interested in learning more about the study. We are also, because we've broadened up the recruitment pool, we are also emailing. So we're emailing the teachers who are returning and say, yes, I'm interested in this. We're also emailing teachers who are new to ask them, to explain more about the study and ask them if they're interested. So initially, Discovery sends out the first email to these teachers, and then WestEd sends reminders that ask them to complete a brief interest form. And so this one confirms that they've registered for doing Future City next year. And then we ask them a bit more information about the context around their school and how they use and teach with Future City. So we can say, yes, this fits with our study, or it doesn't. So we're reviewing their eligibility. If teachers are interested and eligible, then we start working with the school and the district to get approval to conduct research. And then once we get that, we will ask those eligible teachers to complete a consent form in order to participate in the research study. And then our hope is that in August, we can randomly assign participants, whether that's teachers or different class sections, into the treatment and control groups. All right. And then I think next we have sort of what that overall timeline looks like. So, you know, in August, the Future City Handbook is released, all the great details about this year's competition. What that will look like for treatment teachers or classrooms is that in September, we'll have a survey and assessment for them. In the fall, they'll be using Future City. In December, we will have a student survey. They'll have their competitions in January, and then in February, we'll have another student survey, and our post-assessment will be done. For the control teachers or classrooms, it looks pretty similar. The biggest differences are that in the fall, they have regular instruction, and in January, they have regular instruction. And so we'll have the same assessments done for those control classrooms or teachers throughout the fall and through February. And then I think the next slide goes into, oh no, it didn't. Okay, sorry, go back one more, Maddie. I mistakenly forgot what was there. For the control classrooms, if they're interested, we'd like to ask them to teach with Future City in the spring. There is no competition in that case. But if teachers do that, then we would have a few more student surveys and assessments to look and see, okay, how does this do for students from the control group afterwards? But we also understand a lot of teachers are really busy, and they may just not be able to teach their control classes or groups of students in the spring. So, all right. So let's go to the next one. Ways that you can help. If a teacher reaches out to you about the study, share what you know. If there's something you don't know, please feel free to refer them or email us at our study email address, which was at the beginning and I think will be at the end again. If you think a district or group of teachers would be well suited for this, let us know. As you're probably well aware, recruitment is always a challenge for programs or for research studies. One of the great things of Future City is it reaches a lot of different teachers and students across the country. One of the challenging things that happens for us as researchers is they tend to be 1 and 2 teacher per district. So there's a lot more work for us to do on the district approval side of things. So if you have a good district or group of teachers that you think would be good, please let us know, because that will help us a lot. And then if we need it, if we need help connecting with district personnel, we may reach out to you to see if you know someone who could help us. And working out the approvals process. Part of the challenge is very few districts have exactly the same research approval process. There's always slight variations of what information they need and who is the final approver. So, all right, I think next slide. Okay, so here's where our my email address and my colleague David McKinney, where his email address is. We actually cut off the last part of his last name, but the biggest thing is if you email futurecitystudy@wested.org, that will get to our research team, and that's the fastest way to get a question answered. So, but does anyone have any questions right now for us? And I'm okay with wait time. I've learned how to teach with that. So,
Well, while you guys are thinking of questions, thank you, Andrew, for joining us. And we will have one of the team, whether it's Andrew or David, back with us again in the fall. Sure can, Ken.
yes, I'll put the emails in.
Thank you. But they will be joining us again just to be able to give us an update on how things are going with the study and of course answer any questions on our next call, which will be officially in the fall. But thank you for joining us.
All right. I'll stay on the call. So if someone has questions in the chat, please feel free to let me know. And I really appreciate your help and letting us come here and talk to you. Because, you know, literally we can't do these studies without the project and partners helping out and supporting it. So,
Great. Thank you so much, Andrew.
all right. Thank you.
Okay, moving on. We have our registration update for middle school. So educators, we have 753, mentors, we have 55, and 150 judges. So those are looking really, really good, up from last year as well. And then I have a reminder here to pair your mentors with an educator in your region. So all mentors with a cleared background check in your region will come up in the mentor roster for you to assign. So you'll just go to the mentor roster, click on the name of that mentor. If they don't already have an educator assigned to them, and you'll just assign them to an educator. And then if a mentor has requested a specific educator, it will also show that on the roster. And then once you do pair up a mentor and an educator, reach out to them and let them know that they've been paired, and otherwise they will not be notified of this pairing. So you do have to connect them and let them know. Okay, a high school overview, because I'm here. We're going to talk about high school for a little bit. So I just am going to touch on a few differences here and big highlights, but I just want to show the video again. We have this new amazing promotional video about all about the program, and it just goes into a little bit about the finals experience and the value that the students and the coaches are really getting out of this program. So it's just a few minutes, so we'll just play that real quick.
Maddie, you have to share sound.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I was.
Not picking up the video.
Try that.
Welcome everybody to the Future City Awards.
We are from Chicago, Illinois, and the name of our city is Naraja.
We are from Waukee, Wisconsin.
Omaha, Nebraska.
Chita del Laguna from the Academy of Laurel Springs.
Anaheim, California.
Houston, Texas.
Future City is an amazing engineering opportunity where you get to apply real-world concepts and systems to be able to design a city of the future.
You're given a prompt, and then based off that prompt, you have to write an essay and build a model, and then you have to do a presentation and do Q&A for the judges.
It just means learning, collaboration, and science, but all in the way that's fun.
I think it's a good opportunity to prepare you
for like your future career path, I do want to be an architect. So I think it gave me like a real world situation and like it gave me real deadlines.
So it teaches you about the engineering design process, project management, how to research effectively, how to manage a big group project.
You have to actually make it work, and we made it work. So like,
definitely lots of challenges, but I just love how you get to work with a team. I think we all learned stuff we never imagined.
So I'm a geography teacher. Even though there's a lot of engineering and a lot of STEM, when they approached me about it last year, about sponsoring this club, they were like telling me about all the connections that they could make to urban planning and city design, city models. So even I was surprised at how much I was learning and seeing what the connections were. The teamwork and the collaboration and learning how to organize a plan, execute a plan. And I actually think that more than anything is the biggest takeaway.
In the course of doing our project, we met with a civil engineer, and he taught us all about how cities work and what they can consider when building a city, like, roads, bridges.
Working with these professionals and kind of working side by side, share what we have with their experiences and their feedback, as it's felt more like a class. It's felt like an actual real project where we have been chosen to design something for a client.
It's really been a fun experience with Future City, meeting all these new people, getting to present in front of a panel of judges.
It's a competition where you're not limited by anything. The only thing you're limited by is your mind.
I think it's going to help set us up really well for the future.
It's incredible being around some of the people that could be the world's future engineers and problem solvers.
Who knows, these cities might be even possible in the future. So.
Okay, so just a really great video that shows more about the students talking about what they're getting out of it. So we have the link in just a few slides, so everyone will have access to this. And then, sorry, there we go. I just wanted to know just a couple of things about the program. So differences. So team structure for high school is 3 to 5 students in grades 9 through 12 and 1 adult coach, who really could be anybody, an educator, an engineer, a parent, any STEM professional adult. And then the biggest change here or difference is that there's no regions for Future City High School. Each team is its own entity and will have direct communication with me and our team. But as far as schools and organizations, it's the same for both programs. So it must be a nationally, regionally, or state recognized organization. And then there's 2 levels of participation for teams coming in. So competition access at $375 a team and program access at $300 a team. The biggest difference here, of course, is that competition access gives these teams the ability to submit their deliverables for feedback from their STEM professional judges and compete for those really hefty prizes and scholarships, which is really exciting. But you can see in this table all the different line items that each of the tracks get you. And if you come in on that program access side, you can upgrade to the competition access at any time throughout the season for that additional fee. Okay, and then just make sure I'm touching everything here. I just wanted to give some numbers too. So teams are still writing an essay. It's 2,000 words, and they have to interview a STEM professional as part of that. And then they have to build their model digitally using Revit. And then last year we had 85 teams from 62 coaches, 325 students. So just really great numbers from that first official year, and we're really excited to see how this year goes. And we also saw a third of the students were coming from Future City Middle School. They were Future City Middle School alumni, which is really, really cool and exactly what we want to see from these programs. And so I have a list of the promotional materials available just to help you understand the program better, to give out to people and to help with your regional competition throughout the season. So all of these materials, except for the video that's just linked here, are in your resources tab, the coordinator resources tab, and there's a separate category of Future City High School to hopefully make it as easy as possible to find them. So there's that overview flyer in this video that I just showed, which are perfect for just sharing with interested educators, parents, students, judges. It has all the program information on it. And it's a good just, first thing to send them. And then I have an info slide and a sample script for your regional competition. If you do choose to speak on the program, which is completely optional, but if you do choose to speak on the program at your regional competition, we have a PowerPoint slide that you can just throw up on a screen, which has links and information, and then a sample script that you can use as a handout or as a sample script just to hopefully make the lift as easy as possible, where you can just kind of use that just to speak about the program. And then how else can a region be involved? So besides all of that, advocating and advertising and just being, an optional ambassador for this program would be really appreciated. And then getting high school teams involved within your region. So at the end of the team registration deadline, which is October 31st, I will be reaching out to all the regions, telling you how many teams are located within your region, and you are given the option to reach out to them, to invite them to your regional competition, maybe give them a space to showcase their project, or even speak on the program themselves, which I think would be a really good, great way to showcase the program. And then finally, we have financially supporting a high school team, so either through their registration fee and or their trip to finals. So we're really grateful to North Carolina and the New England regions for supporting teams for this upcoming season. So I think that's all I have for high school, but does anyone have any quick high school questions before we move on? Okay, well, if nothing comes up, just you can email me. I think I have actually one more slide. I'm sorry. My email's here. We have 2 information sessions coming up. One is actually tonight at 6 p.m. And then in mid-August. And then there's a QR code to go right to the registration page and, of course, the website. So if you have any questions or if any of your interested people from your region have any questions or interested, just feel free to send them my way. Thanks. Okay, we did a Refer a Colleague campaign this spring and actually just picked the winner, who was James Briscoe from Mississippi. He referred a colleague to register as a resource-only educator, and he won a $75 Amazon gift card. This was our first time doing a Refer a Colleague campaign. We saw really good results, so we are going to run it in the fall again too and just see how that goes. So you'll see some emails from us marketing this fall campaign, and we really encourage you to send them out to your educators as well to hopefully bring more people and get them involved as well. Okay, certificate of insurance. So you'll need to send your request for your region's certificate of insurance to Ashley, and you'll need to provide the following information: your event date, your venue name, and your venue address. If you know all of that information already and your venue is secured, you can send that over to Ashley as soon as you can. And if it's not secured yet, that's okay. Just send it over to Ashley as soon as it's available. Okay, here's our upcoming educator.
Can I ask you one question back to the high school? You said they're using Revit. Do they have a license for Revit, or do they have to pay for that?
They do not have to pay for it. Revit is free for educational purposes. So they just have to input their information and they'll be able to use it for free.
Okay, thank you.
Good question, thanks. So our upcoming educator calls. So in August, we have 2. We have an educator drop-in call August 12th, and then an info session on August 14th, and then another educator drop-in call September 16th, and then a new educator info session with an educator panel September 18th. So all of those and more are linked in a PDF document within your resources tab that is really good for returning and new educators, mentors, and then that theme webinar is there. And it's all linked for the registration to register for these different sessions. Okay, handbooks. We are working very hard to get these handbooks ready for everybody. We're almost there. And so we provide 50 copies to each of the US regions. And then there will be an additional cost if you need more than 50 copies. So there's 2 things you need to do before July 11th. You need to log into your dashboard and confirm your mailing address. So in your dashboard, you'll go to the top right corner. There's a little purple button. You'll click and then click account details, and then either enter or confirm your mailing address and shipping address. Even if you know that there's a mailing address in there, please go in there and confirm it. This is the address that Ashley is going to send the handbooks to, so very important. And then please submit this order form, which it's linked here, and so you'll have access to this once the slides go out. Yep, so that link will be emailed. Yep, sorry, right at the good timing. So it'll be linked in this slide, and then I think in a post call email to everybody where it's just detailing how many copies you need and if you need additional copies. Does anyone have any questions regarding handbook timing? But doing these 2 steps by July 11th will ensure that you get your copies before the August 1st. But any questions, please reach out to Ashley. Yeah, we can, I can't get to the link right now, probably. Maybe I could. I don't want to like ruin up the screen, but
I can get it for you, and I'll drop it in the chat, but it'll also be in the email communications from Ashley over to you all over the next.
Great. Thanks, Susan. Okay, next up, we do have Teresa talking about our regional survey. So Teresa Wolf is the Wisconsin Regional Coordinator, and we were just working with her to create this regional survey. We did go through it a little bit at the retreat, but we're just bringing it up to the larger group and for any discussion. So Teresa, take it away.
Hi, so I think everybody, so the people that were at the retreat, I'm not sure if you already had this information, how much is repeat, but I figured let's just go through it and level set. Unfortunately, I had competitions that weekend, so I wasn't able to go. So just high level, I looked at, or I asked everybody questions on like, what does your regional look like? So as you can see from the charts on the map or on the screen right now, 21 to 25 is that most frequent size for a regional competition. I know our region's on the larger end, so I believe we're the only one that's over 40 teams, but it kind of bell curves up to that 21 to 25, so that tends to be the average. Number of rounds at regional. So again, verbiage might be a little bit different for everybody, but just so that we're all level set, my region does 1 round and it does a championship round. So I put 1 round. Some of you said 2 rounds or 3 rounds. It looks like 1 round is the most popular. Again, for my region size, we would love to do more rounds. It's just not feasible. I figured just since I've got the floor, I'll add our comments. We tend to have about 5 to 6 judges in our panel, along with a lead judge that kind of helps coordinate everything. So that tends to be how many different perspectives we get from each team. I would love to do a second round, but we just can't do it. 4 extra questions. Most of you do not do a junior division option. Wisconsin just started this last year and we had a couple of teams. So we're hopeful to see a little bit more growth. And this is our target for that, is so that younger students in groups that do STEM clubs can participate and then hopefully grow into middle school competitors. We did actually allow them access to special awards, not the national ones, but the others. And one of our junior teams did actually win one of the special awards, which was pretty cool. Partial competition, most regions do have a partial competition. Speaking from Wisconsin's perspective, we allow you to complete any of the deliverables and we'll support with judging. We will not allow presentation and Q&A judging at regional unless you're a full competitor, just because of our capacity concerns. But I'm happy to coordinate judges to go to their school if needed. Thus far, we really haven't seen much from the partial competition. So if anybody around the horn has a great partial competition where you've had great success, I'd love to hear more. I could pause real quick in case anybody has anything off the top. With that, I'll keep talking, but feel free to interrupt me. And then the last is the championship round. So do you have that final round where you take your top teams and weed them out to select your winners? We have a championship round and we're in the majority. There's 83% of the regions that do that. Continuing on, the reason why I was so interested in this survey in the first place was more to get insight into what people give away for awards, what awards you do, kind of all that nitty-gritty detail. So we did get a lot of information out of there. So I've compiled a little bit here on the screen. From the placement awards, most award places 1 through 5 with awards. We fall in that. There's a couple that go 1st through 3rd, 1st through 4th, or 1st through 6th, but most are living in that 5 places. Special awards, again, across the regions, how many people have special awards? I'm really envious of the regions that do 26 plus. We fall somewhere between the 18 to 22 is our range. But to do 26 plus where maybe all teams get one. And I think that's a really great goal and fun thing to have all the teams participate in that aspect, which is really cool. But as you can see, it bell curves up to about 11 to 15 is the average number of special awards. We looked at fundraising by region. So how much do each of the regions raise? Some of you are very light on the under 10,000. And there's 2 of you that are over 50. We fall in the 41 to 50. We have some administrative expenses to offset, as well as just, all the expenses of running the event as a whole. So we fall in that 41 to 50. But it kind of is all across the board. There's not really a clear pattern that I see. Last but not least on this slide is kind of talking about that special award. Most charge about 500, but it does go all the way from 100 to 500. There were 4 others, and I don't remember what that other meant, but the average cost of special award for people that charge for special awards is 388. My region just increased from 250 to 300, but it's good to know that we're kind of right in that middle aspect of how much we charge for special awards. I'm sure for some regions that may even be your fundraising component, where special awards helps to fund other things as well. So then on the next slide, we have what does it look like? What do kids get when it comes to a placement award, a special award prize, or swag for everybody? Placements, awards, the trophies, and the checks are the most common things that people receive. Just in case you were curious on that, trophies, and then right underneath it, it says detail. There are some regions that hand out a school trophy as well as an individual trophy. So therefore that detail is just a little bit higher. The same is true with the plaques. Some give just to school, some give individual, some give both. So that detail looks at that. So when it comes to special or placement awards, again, trophies and checks or cash is the most common. Our region hands out gift cards, but it's good to see kind of the gambit of what other regions do. I don't remember if I asked what the value is. That might be a really interesting future survey to understand what people give away and how our region compares to others. I'm going to jump over on the other side where it's special award prizes. Plaque is the most common thing that is provided. Certificates being the second most. Gift cards and cash tends to be a popular prize along with swag or trophies or medals. And last but not least is swag for all. T-shirts by far leads the survey, with many regions offering T-shirts. But then there's a whole bunch of other options that people give, from certificates to different like fun swag like supplies or bags or treats. So that was pretty much it in a nutshell. Before I open the floor to any other comments or thoughts, the next thing that I would like to do from what came up at the regional coordinators retreat, as well as just kind of continuation of this, is if anybody has a list of their special awards, I'm sure a list is probably in a Word doc or an Excel doc. If you want to email that to me, I'd love to just compile all of our special award names. And if you have any descriptions as to how they win those awards, even better. And I can get that out to everybody as well, because I think that's the next thing after completing this that piques my interest, that as well as how much actually people give from a check and gift card perspective for those awards.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Teresa. So does anyone want to chime in or talk about anything about this survey?
I have a question, because I wasn't able to go to the retreat and everything. With the number of teams you guys have, are y'all limiting like the students who are able to come? This past year we had, because we're in that 21 to 25 range, but last year we had a team who brought 60 students and it was just chaos. And so I didn't know if you guys, because I know there aren't necessarily rules in the rule book limiting student participation, but didn't know if anybody did limit how many can be present on the property during the competition.
I'll start by sharing my experience. So we've never had 60. 60 is a pretty bit of an extreme team, but we do have a school that does approximately like 25 students per team, and they do bring most, if not all of them, for all 3 of the teams that come. We, from a budgetary standpoint, limit what we provide the students to the 5, what we qualify as 5 official team member, or 5 to 6 team members, like participation. So we'll give it to the educator, the mentor, and then the 3 official students and the alternate. So like if we're giving away lunches, we're giving away 6 lunches to each team. T-shirts, we're giving away 5 T-shirts to each team, just to kind of help control our costs. That doesn't help with on the floor, but it does help from a budgetary standpoint.
Yeah, hi, this is Ken from Philadelphia. We're one of the larger competitions. And for our special awards, we award it, 1 award to the team, not to the individuals, because like most of you, we have teams that range from like 40 students to 2 students. And everyone who shows up, including we have a few partials some year, can get a special award. And we are extremely fortunate. We actually have more sponsors and awards than we ever have teams competing. So every team gets something. And we do give T-shirts to everybody who shows up.
I think maybe I'm asking less about the financial aspect, because that's not necessarily, it's truly like the spatial aspect, because then everyone brings their parents and then everybody's watching awards in these spaces that are not meant for, 400 to 500 people, because they originally registered a certain amount. And so maybe I guess that's what I'm asking, is like space wise. Yeah.
Again, talking Wisconsin, we're very lucky and fortunate in the sense of our main competition space for the day is really large. So 60 students couldn't crowd around their table for like delivering information to special awards. They could probably get like 10 to 12 there at any given time. But we have a lot of space on the sides for participants to be there. Our presentation rooms, we can probably accommodate about 20 viewers. With some might spill out into the hallway, so maybe you could get to that 30 number. So a 60-person team just would not be able to view that. I think if I knew that a team was that large, I'd probably share my concerns about, if you bring everybody, these are the things you might not be able to participate in on the floor discussing your model at the same time, just from a space constraint. And in the presentation room, you'll have spectator space for about 20, but no additional, and only the 3 are allowed up front, because I think that's a confusion, especially for newer teams. So that's my only comment, but I'd welcome others.
Yeah, once again, we typically get 400 people at our competition in Philadelphia region. We also are fortunate, we have a very large venue. It's a high school. We only allow the 3 presenters, teacher and mentor, into the judging room because it's a classroom. We can't hold that many people, and we want to minimize distractions. For the championship round of the top 6 teams, we're in a huge auditorium, so that's not really a problem. There's plenty of room for everyone.
Hi, this is Samantha. We don't have the problem on the team size, but we do have it on the spectators joining, which is great to have all those supporters there. This coming year, it'll be the first time that we're trying out a new location at a university. But when we did our initial walkthrough to look at spaces, we're looking at having 2 auditoriums available. One that we have the teams and students in and with their teachers and mentors, and one that we have the supporters in and live streaming from the student auditorium to the parent and supporter one to kind of break that up. Part of that is also traffic and logistics, making sure the students don't have to walk very far to their competition rooms from the morning, but also trying to slow down the spectators so that they aren't crowding the halls, and they're kind of encouraged to do some of the other activities that we have on hand. So we can report back after that goes, but that's what we're looking at doing this coming year to handle all of the people that do like to come and watch.
Once again, Philadelphia, we did that a few years ago when we couldn't get the venue that we usually use. We were at one of actually a community college, and we also had 2 rooms, one that was supposed to be for students and their teachers and mentors only, and another one for parents and others. And it was really frustrating that parents would just walk in despite saying, no, this is just for students. So just need, the volunteers to reinforce that. We did not anticipate that. So there was only a few volunteers working multiple doors. Some people just ignored the signs and the verbal directions. So some of the students actually ended up in the remote room. Not the presenters, but, other members of the teams, which was terribly frustrating. So just be aware that will happen.
This is Susan from the DE side with finals, which many of you have attended the last couple of years, but obviously we're restricted on space too. We're all in those worlds where we haven't yet figured out how to move walls, at least for these events. We have a policy at finals that you can only be a spectator in the session that is your student's session, because obviously they're sharing questions and things like that. They're hearing the mandatory questions and they could take that back to another team if they're a parent from another team. But we also have a mandatory meeting for all regional coordinators and mentors that are, or not regional coordinators, sorry, all educators and mentors at the very beginning of finals that kind of stipulates all of these rules to them, which could have them, and if a parent is acting in a way that they've been notified not to do, it could affect the team, right? It helps parents to fall a little bit more in line, knowing that they might be repercussions that could affect their students themselves. But those are just some things to think about, putting in place as you guys think about how to deal with those rooms. And of course, we do have some pretty big teams that come to finals, and we try to get we know that those are the bigger teams, so we'll maybe put them in the largest room we have, but it still might be able to accommodate them completely, depending on who all shows up to watch. But hopefully all this helps you guys.
Any last minute thoughts? I do want to be cognizant of the time.
Yeah, so I'll just share again, if you want to send your special award list, I'll compile them all. If you have descriptions, send those as well, and you can send it in whatever format makes the most sense for you. I specifically didn't want to do a survey for that because I know it'd be more difficult to type that in.
Great, well, thank you so much, Teresa. We really appreciate it. Okay, we have just a couple more slides here. Let me get back. Okay, we have new region updates. So I think we did announce in April that South Dakota is our new US region, and then our new international region is Bangladesh. So we're really excited to have both of these regions and their regional coordinators join us. And we're just looking forward to just a really good, successful year with them. So just keep an eye out for them and just welcome them into the program. And then there's no calls for July or August. So the next upcoming call is September 26th. And here's all the links to register for the rest of the year. And that's all we had. So does anyone have any last minute questions? Oh, so Ken is asking what international regions have we had lately? So we have China and Bangladesh, I believe, are the only official international regions. Is that correct, Susan?
Yes. So officially, just like you all as regions, they do have to meet certain size requirements and follow the agreement that we have as an affiliate. And so China actually has 2 separate entities that run their region, Hong Kong and Macau. run as one unit, and then the other provinces run as another. But so they are Future City China, and then Bangladesh is the second one that will come on board this year. We also have Future City Nigeria with them as well, and we continue to work with the STEM program over there to try to get them funding support so that they can continue to grow the program and hopefully eventually return back to the finals in DC.
Any other questions though? We can stay here for a couple more minutes, but otherwise, thank you so much. And any questions that you do have, you can email Ashley. But thank you all so much for your time, and thank you, Teresa and Andrew, for presenting today.